Our guest today is Dave Leff from TLC Landscape in Ontario, Canada. Dave, like many, many people, started off very, very small, his own little business, which he then merged with another little business. And over 35 years, grew it and grew it and grew it. And then ultimately, he and his partner sold it to Schill Grounds Management. And now Dave's a regional manager overseeing 5 branches with a huge number of employees underneath him. He explains his entire journey to you here. He and his partner, Jay, got together way early on, and they each had different talents. And Jay really brought the financial side. So we dive into the key, the needs that every owner has for getting the financial side locked down, whether it's with a controller, a partner like Jay, or what have you. We speak about diversification and how when these two guys got together, how they each entered into sort of a different area of the business. Jay went down the residential design build, and Dave Leff, as you're going to hear, focused on HOA. Dave has been a member of my peer group, or was a member early on, and he always threw off the averages because his numbers were so dang good. And so you're going to hear about how he built up the business and their approach to account management and how they got such great numbers. Also, Dave and his partner Jay built up Greenius, that many of you have heard about, and then sold Greenius. And so this has been a journey of a great partnership, total dedication to their clients and their company and the industry. And Dave really brings something special. He's a speaker at our Summer Growth Summit this year. And his whole approach to mentoring and building team capacity is very unique. You're going to learn a little bit about it here on this podcast, and you can come join us at the Summer Growth Summit. We have a couple early bird discount deadlines. The first one is April 24th for the super early bird. So I put a link into the show notes if you want to join us. But let's jump right into this podcast and see what Dave has to share with us. Mr. Dave Leff, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeffrey. It's an honor for sure.
Hey, so let me ask you to just introduce yourself so I don't mess it up.
So my name's Dave Leff. I'm one of the owners, or was one of the owners, still a little bit involved with Schill, but of TLC Landscaping in London, Ontario, Canada. We've been around for almost 35 years, as you can tell, and run a really good business here in London, Ontario. So my partner Jay is not here obviously today, but it is still a big part of the business. And we've just grown this thing since this is our 35th year. So it's been
35th year. So how long have I known you?
9 years.
Okay. So not only less than a third of you the time. How did you get started 35 years ago?
So I actually started in London. I was going to Fanshawe College. I was taking engineering, and I was running a business called London Landscaping. I was 16 years old. I was cutting about 20 to 30 lawns a week, making okay money, had an old beat up truck and a couple of lawnmowers, just kind of doing it on my own. And then things got slow in the fall, and I started working for TLC as an employee. And Jay and I just kind of gravitated together. I think we're two hardworking dudes, and just came together, drew up an agreement, and that took a while actually. Jay's probably one of the smartest numbers guys that I know. He's very, very, very smart when it comes to the stuff in the business, and he just basically looked after that part of the business, and I just got the work done. So it was really, really cool. Because I know a lot of times in business, partners don't get along. And we've been friends for the whole time. Obviously, some bumps in the road, like any partnership.
Yeah.
But nothing crazy. Like nobody ever went home mad or whatever, or threw something at each other.
how long did it take for him to invite you in as a partner? And is that equal partner?
No, I owned 30% of the business and he owned 70. So,
and how long did that take?
Less than a year. It was 30 years ago. I don't remember everything that went on, but it didn't take long. We were very small. It was a very small company.
Yeah.
Our revenue was really low. And, now we're 30 years later, there's 250 employees here in the winter. So
dang,
it's a big animal.
So what was the next step in that growth journey?
I think for us back then, like we were cutting grass in the day. Like we really latched on to the condominium market here in London. So that was a really big push for us. We do 4 days of cutting and 1 day of landscaping or we had probably back then 5 or 6 employees. So it was good. Jay was doing all the quoting, all the number stuff. And I was getting crews going and looking after the job sites and making sure, our employees were good. For him, he was more doing the account management part for a number of the years, probably the first 10 years of the business. Then it kind of gravitated to him more doing a financial, insurance and trucks. And, by then we were up to probably 50 or 60 employees. Maybe not that much, maybe 40 employees at the time.
Yeah.
And then I gravitated to doing the account management part. So it was never boring. I can tell you that. So it's important. Go ahead.
I know you as like the best account manager out there. So that was Jay. And I would never think of Jay as that. I don't know why. He just seems like shorter attention span to me. Is that accurate?
That's what happened. Yeah. Jay is very numbers driven, loves the dimensional, numbers, how they come together, how they form. And he built the business for us in a roundabout way. Obviously, Jay very well. He's very, very smart. And, but the point of once we switched it over to more like what we're supposed to be doing in life, I guess you could say, like more, I'm really good at account management. I'm really good with people. He just dove into the numbers and we just got so much better. And that was the big part of it. I think that was more of it was a major factor for TLC was the diving into the numbers, what we're doing every day. How are we doing on properties? Are we hitting our goals on man hours on property? Just little things and then of course you get into are we buying things as best we can? And are we buying trucks as cheap as we can? And that whole side of it just took off. And then on the other end, I was just getting really into the property management companies and talking to people on sites, and the business just grew like crazy. Like the last 15 years have been the biggest growth for TLC over that 30-year span. I guess the first 30 were tough.
When I met you guys, and actually I met Jay before you, but I don't want to jump too far ahead, but you already were doing pools and landscaping then. When did you add residential onto your commercial business?
I think we were doing residential the whole time, just not to the level we are now. And, we do really high-end jobs now. We still do very high-end jobs, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, all the way up to 1 million pools, spas, pool houses. Like we've done it all. And it's a great part of our business, but it's still, probably a third of what the maintenance division does. So It's still a big active part of TLC. There's 15 guys in that division.
And Jay ran or used to run that division.
100%. He still does. He's still involved with that part.
Yeah.
Which is also helpful. But we let the staff do we have managers in that role. They're coming to work, running the crews and just we're getting reported, or we have a meeting twice a week. And we find it, once we kind of let go, that's when things just took off especially in the last 10 years.
Yeah. When So you've got your heavy commercial, like you're definitely known for that. Well, you're known for both high-end residential and what I'm calling, commercial HOA. What's your advice to the listener? Should the average company out there mix both, or like it's working for you, but if you had to start all over again, what would you tell your Dave Leff 2.0? Don't mix residential and commercial, or go ahead and do it?
You know what? I used to be a big believer in specialize. But since COVID and even today, Canada's not having the best economic last 2 years have not been great around here. So it's nice to have both, right? Because the commercial lots, they want the places looking good. They're going to spend money where the condominiums or the HOAs may not want to spend that kind of money. So we're a little bit more, we're invested with both now, which Jerry and the Schill team have really kind of pushed us to get into, and it's been really good.
Yeah.
Like I would say that was, for me, that was a big eye opener in the last 2 years when, since we've been working with those guys. So it's been great.
So just to underline this, you're saying as a business owner, diversification definitely has its place.
100%. 100%.
Okay. Now, but Schill is all about being focused on growing their one thing. And so is your strategy counter to theirs, or is it to each their own, or?
I think since this is almost year 3 for us. So it's been really eye opening. Like you get with a group of people that all of us have more than 30 years in the business. It's just things just take off. So we grow more than 10% a year. But we're into commercial now. So, the yards are full now compared to what they were 3 years ago. So I think, we've grown by account managers. We've grown by operations teams. Our snow department's doubled in the last 5 years. More so once things kind of took off with Schill. And Jerry and John have just been, and Aaron as well, they've just been really supportive when it comes to not just jamming it down your throat, but like, okay, we need you to grow, but don't kill yourself every year trying to get there, right? So,
gotcha.
But
10% is not outrageous.
No. But when you're, when you're a 30 or 20 or $30 million company, it's a big apple. Like it's a big nut to hit every year. So, I think that part of it is very, has enlightened the culture around here. I think there's obviously been a lot of people that have moved up. We talked just briefly before we jumped on here, we were talking about Jamie Van Castren, and he was an account manager with me 10 years ago. And now he's a business developer, and he's really, really good at his job. So that's someone that has just anchored themselves into the way Schill does things. And he's just been kicking ass. So
when you were a member of my peer group 9 years ago, and your numbers always threw off our benchmarks because you had the highest, your account managers managed more than anybody else by a lot, as I recall. Give us like one insight to your secret sauce without giving away your talk that you're going to do for us during our Summer Growth Summit. But just like, what's one thing you do that allows your account managers to have such a span of control where they can manage such a huge dollar amount?
I think, and we discussed this before, but, I think a lot of it I learned from being in that peer group. And I'm not just saying that. Like, I think those years where that peer group was awesome. Like, we were just all dialed in. It was a great bunch of people that just wanted to do really well. And I honestly got, and I'm not just saying this, Jeffrey, but those 5 or 6 years changed the way I looked at things. And, we had, John was even in that group for a while there, and Alex and Chaz, and there was a lot of great people in that room. And every time we got together, we had fun, but we kicked ass too. And there was a lot of really good conversations.
Yeah.
And that changed the way I looked at with account management, because I used to micromanage the shit out of people, pardon my French. And it's just to the point where, what are you doing today? Are you going to go see this guy? Are you going to, and it came to a point where it was like, why are you doing this? And then that kind of took over and I think it was like third or fourth year when we were together, was the account managers started spending time where they needed to spend the time. We all have accounts where they don't spend a lot of money, but their gross margin on their maintenance contract is really high and we want to keep them.
Yeah.
But the account manager now here spends the time where they need to spend time. And that's our enhancement ratio now is over 50%, which is really good. The attachment rate's really good. So we just want to spend time where our customers want us to spend time, not where we think they need to spend time. So some accounts don't want to see us. They'll call us when they need us, and then others are a touch point once a week. And we've really grown the business, and we've grown people around here just dealing with that part of the business. So it's important. Like account managers for me, they run the ship around here. So it's followed by great operations people, but you really have to have great account managers to move the needle.
When you joined the peer group, I'm guessing you were around 10 million, was it? 9 million, maybe 8?
Maybe between 9 and 10 for sure.
And so where are you at now?
23.
Okay. He says with a question mark. Excellent.
Yeah, like it's still up in the air. We're in the middle of contract season right now, but it's going to be between 22 and 24 million. So
before I met you, I met Jay at the trade show in Landscape Ontario, and he was hawking Greenius. What? How did you guys come up with the idea to start Greenius?
Yeah, so 15 years ago, we had an accident here in our yard, and nobody died or there wasn't any major issue, but it was all about safety, how to back up a trailer and not hit something. We were getting busier. There was a lot more people in the yard in the mornings. So we decided to build this video with what we called Truck and Trailer. And it was all about, like, what do you do when you back up a trailer? You need a spotter. You got to have somebody with a driver's license that's driving the vehicle, like just simple things. But we just started building it. And then a couple of years later, we just decided, this could be something that a landscape company would buy. Like legit, if there's lots of accidents in the market today.
Yeah.
Every day, right? And there's lots of landscape companies out there that just need this service. And we hired this guy named Matt Crinkla, a buddy of mine actually. And he actually still works with them today. I think he's the CEO now. Great guy. And he built this. He just started building videos. And we used it within TLC for a number of years before it went out to market. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, Jay, it was Jay, it wasn't me, but he just basically said, we should try to sell this thing. And off we went. And it was very successful, but I think a lot of people used it, but they could have used it better, obviously. I think in today's market, I think it's used very well. We still use air shell. We spend a lot of time on safety. So it's important that I think it's been a great tool. Like we sold it 7-8 years ago to LMN, which was a good move for them, I think. And I'm just glad it helps people. At the end of the day, like I hope a lot of injuries have been avoided because people are doing what they should be for safety. Because what I know, it can be a dangerous game out there for sure.
The name of it used to be Landscape Safety. What was it called?
Safety, yeah. That was the first name, and then we changed it to Greenius. I have no idea why.
I got to tell you, I mean, I'm going to give Jay credit for this, I'm assuming, but he rebranded your company. I can see your logo there right now, and I thought he did a great job of rebranding it. He rebranded Landscape Safety Systems or whatever it was to Greenius. I think turns out it was a smart move. And so is he the mastermind behind all the branding?
He is. And that's just something he's really, really good at. Like we talked about the numbers part of it is, like each one of us came to work every day with a specialty. And I think that's why it's even today, like, we still hang out every week. Right. So it's just a little bit, he's gone down to part-time a little bit now, which is totally awesome for him. Just doing other things. But, what I think and I think he would agree is, without both of us, I'm not sure we wouldn't have got here. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So you sold Greenius, you rebranded it and sold it. What did you learn from that as a business person?
Lawyers cost a lot of money. Yeah, like it was a good exercise. I think at the time doing it again, I probably would have held on to it for a couple of years. But it was becoming a distraction from TLC. Jay was spending a lot of time on it. And I think we both kind of realized that, it's becoming a little bit of a distraction. But then after we sold Greenius, we really decided to sell TLC as well. Like, I think one kind of led into another one, and it was a good move on both accounts. I just don't know. I think, if I was doing it again, I'd probably hold on to Greenius for a little bit longer. We probably could have got some more, customers out of it or sold it a little bit better. We still did well and on both accounts, but it's something I don't like. I think it was a good idea to do both. Like for TLC, it was more, we just needed help. Like the thing was an animal and we'd known Jerry for a very long time. And then Jono, I knew, like it just kind of fit in as things went on. And, it was a great opportunity for us to join a great organization.
It seems to me that many people or some people sell too soon. And you're kind of saying you did with Greenius. Like, and I don't quite know why, but it seems that people sell as they're approaching the value curve, not when they're actually on it. Do you agree, disagree?
It's hard to say. Like, I think with TLC, we were just both ready.
You guys were a lot big. You're much bigger than a lot of times people sell, like I'm saying, before they get to what I'm going to call the value curve. I mean, I think you guys were clearly on it. But just looking at other, you've been around for a long time. Do you agree with me that the average person sells earlier than they should before that value?
Wholeheartedly. I think you just have to be ready. And I'm not saying be burned out or hate the business, but I'm still here. I'm working like I did before we sold. I still love the business. I still love the people. But I think with Greenius, we were kind of like, let's just get out of this thing. It's taken a lot of our time up, and especially Jay's time. And I think, when you start running two companies, it just dwells on you too. Like it beats you up every day. And I think once we got out of it, we both realized that maybe it was time to get another partner as well and that was, we interviewed a lot of companies, but we really knew that Schill was the answer. Kind of like the first time we had a meeting with them. So it was funny because we were in Atlanta and we were meeting with Jerry and the group there, and I got in the elevator and I remember saying, Jerry will probably remember this, was, I just turned to Jay and I just said, this is the group. And we went to two or three other groups, but we kind of knew right off the bat that Schill was the place to sell the business to, for sure.
So let's talk about a strength and a weakness. What's something you did in your business that really did help the value of the business? Give us a strength you had. I
think, before we sold, we actually gave our employees $1.50 raise. It hurt our EBITDA quite a bit. But without doing that, and we wanted to sell the business to Schill on a very strong note, that they were getting something that long-term was going to be a successful part of their business. So the biggest thing, well, and you know this better than anybody, is your employees, right? Making sure your staff are making a decent wage, they're happy here, they want to stay here. So that did hurt us a little bit, like on the evaluation, but we did the right thing. I would say, I know Jay would say the same thing. It was just something we did. It was almost like 6 months before we sold, and we lost a bit of money out of it. But on the other hand, we kept every single employee for almost the next year and a half.
Okay. And so looking back, what's something you didn't do that you should have that would have bolstered your value?
I don't think we did anything wrong, and I mean that. Like, I think I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, and we did very well in our evaluation. Schill was very generous. They treated us very well. Obviously, we're a bigger company as well, so but I think it's very easy to not make a mistake when you have a Jay Murray in the room. And I think that goes back to the numbers, right? The numbers are if the numbers are right, you're doing awesome, right?
Yeah.
You need the people to hit your numbers and do what they're supposed to do every day. But like the numbers part of it, we did really well. And
this is one of the advices I give to owners that are not strong in numbers is to hire a controller ahead of the curve. Like, I really don't care how small you are. Sure, we can start with a full charge bookkeeper, but pretty quickly, when you start growing, a controller really handles all sorts of issues. And I'm a big proponent of hiring ahead of the curve on key positions in order to get big. It's like chicken and egg. And, maybe 20 years ago, it was the other way around. You do the egg first and then the chicken comes. But I believe in key positions to bolster your weaknesses, to help you get the platform you need in order to grow. And I think you're proving that point out. You had it built in.
Yeah, like it was very easy for me because I'm generally not, like, I'm good with numbers, but I would call Jay more of an analyst. Like, he's just analyzing what goes on a daily basis or did. He's still involved, but not as much as he used to be.
Yeah.
We have Nadine now, which is our analyst now, but it's analyzing the numbers rather than being, say, a bookkeeper, I just think is where the difference is made.
Let me just repeat that. Analyzing the numbers versus just reporting the numbers.
100%.
Yeah. I had a client fly in with his leadership team. They just left. And the owner's wife is in the business. And she's very smart. Like, she was making, I probably shouldn't even say this, but I won't even say how much she was making. But she's making a lot of money out in the corporate world. She came in to help. She's their fractional CFO. They're going to hire a controller, and she's going to still do the fractional, all the analysis of the business. And then when she finally goes to pull out, they'll probably hire a fractional CFO to replace her, plus having a full controller in the business. And their company's not huge, but I think it's like, just going to your point, you get that foundation figured out and you're going to scale smartly.
100%. Yeah. And I would go back to our peer group and there wasn't a lot of companies that had that analysis in there.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the companies ended up doing it, like Grasscore brought John one, who's a very big guy. He's an analyst guy. And there's just certain situations where, I recommend that to everybody. It's just everybody that I meet in the business is, it's nice to meet new people, but they always say, "Oh, what did you do that was so awesome?" I'm like, we just analyzed stuff. Like we just knew where our numbers were.
Yeah.
We knew like we had to give a 14% increase to all our customers when the hourly rate, when minimum wage went up.
Yeah.
Little things like that where not everybody will do that stuff. But
it's funny about Alex, ex-football player, right? Ex-NFL. What was he best at? He was the controller in his company.
He was.
That is just so funny. I don't know.
It is.
What is just so funny? I kind of laugh at him. I mean, he's probably one of the smartest guys in the NFL playing, and starts a landscape company and becomes its own controller. Let's kind of shift here to we're coming to the Summer Growth Summit's coming to Schill in Cleveland. You're coming down from Ontario. You're going to speak on the secrets that you've built up over time to build your team. But without getting into that, but just tell us in general, what are you most excited for in terms of you and Schill showing off what you guys have? Like, what are you most excited about bragging about, or just sharing at least?
I think it's the teams. Like, I really believe that, we've partnered with some really, really good people. And my expectations going into this were not very high, because you sell your business, you're like, okay, what's really going to happen? But for me, it's been an uptick. For me is I'm happier than ever with my business relationship with more people.
Yeah.
So you come to work every day. I'm a regional manager in Ontario. Well, there's 5 other regional guys that you can call just to get if you're thinking about something, or you're thinking about changing something. There's just more people and more people to familiarize yourself with the business with. And I know, I don't talk to Jerry every day, and I know we don't all talk to Jerry every day because he's a very busy guy, but he'll answer the phone when you call.
Yeah.
And that's a special thing to have. Jono's obviously very busy as well. And I think Aaron, the leadership team has been great. I think there's been difficulties in every business, I think, in the last few years, but we've dodged a lot of really good bullets because we're doing the right things.
So you're excited to show off the team in general?
100%. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Lots of things to see in Cleveland, and lots of people to learn from. I think that's the biggest piece is there's going to be, if 300 people show up or 400 people show up, I think there's going to be a lot of time to learn. Just learn. And that's my goal, is just to go there and absorb what's going on, not just with Schill, but with other companies that are there.
Yeah. Excellent. Dave, I can't wait to hear your talk and see you and have a beer with you. And
Absolutely.
Appreciate your time here today.
You're awesome, Jeffrey. I really appreciate you. And I know it's hard. It's been a difficult couple of years, I think, for everybody, and looking to get ahead of this and spend some time with some great people at that event. Really, truly looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thanks, man. See you soon.
Have a good day. Take care.